Despite reporting higher levels of discrimination, Black millennials are more politically engaged and likely to vote than their white and Latino peers. That's according to a new report from the University of Chicago's Black Youth Project, which tracked data and trends over the past 10 years. The study gives greater insight into the complexity of problems facing America's young Blacks, which in turn shapes their views on major political issues. Here are 3 key takeaways. First, negative experiences with law enforcement and gun violence among young Blacks existed years before the high-profile deaths of Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown. In 2009, more than half of Black millennials said they had experienced harassment or violence at the hands of police. That's compared to a third of young whites and a quarter of young Latinos. Black youth are also much more likely to report experience with gun violence, which might explain why more than 3/4 of Black millennials believe in the need for greater gun control. By contrast, more than half of white millennials see the need to protect gun owners. Number 2, the workplace remains an uneven playing field. In addition to experiencing higher unemployment and lower wages, Black millennials also reported greater levels of discrimination, both while looking for work and while in the workplace. So it comes as no surprise that an overwhelming majority of Black millennials, 81%, support raising the minimum wage to $10.10. And number 3, access to healthcare is a major priority for young Blacks, who are more likely to live below the poverty line and rely on Medicaid than their peers. More than 80% of young Blacks approved of the Affordable Care Act, compared to about half of young Latinos and just a third of young whites. Despite the inequalities that continue to impact young Blacks, they are in some ways more optimistic about politics than whites and Latinos. The study found that 71% of young Blacks believe they can make a difference through political participation, higher than the 56% among young Latinos and 52% of young whites. One of the study's authors, John Rogowski, says that politicians can mobilize this base in 2016 if they address the concerns of the young Black community, like ending the war on drugs, reducing mass incarceration, and reforming policing procedures. If candidates are effective in doing that, Rogowski says that young Blacks could likely vote at higher rates than their non-Black peers again in the upcoming election.